Guys, welcome to the History Podcast. Today, I am joined by the one and only Rayonte Brown. Ray, it's a pleasure to have you on. I wanted to say thank you for doing this, and I'm excited for you to be here, bro.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you for having me. I've been trying to get on this for a while.
Yeah, man. Well, let's get right to it, bro. I want to know, man, where did your football journey start? How old were you? I believe it started, in the Baltimore, Maryland area. If I'm not wrong, correct me.
Yeah, yeah. I think my football journey started. I was about 6 or 7, and I remember the team. We was the Stenbridge Colts, and that was like my first time actually putting on pads and being able to play because it's like always been like a big kid, so it was always football was really that option like to get out and get like some extracurricular activities. I just always, and then that's what made me fall in love with the sport.
Were you good from the start, or was it, hey, something you had to develop and work at?
I mean, like when they first put me out there, like I said, I was always big, so they put me on the line at first. So it was real easy for me, like being a big 7 year old against like normal size 7 year olds was like just easy to push around, easy to get around, which made me like be like, oh, I like doing this.
And for someone who's not from the Baltimore area, can you kind of describe what the football culture is like there?
I mean, in the Baltimore area, football is really more basketball where people find a love at. But then through when I was growing up, football like really got big, especially with guys like with Tavon Austin coming out of Baltimore.
He's from
That's what got
Baltimore?
Yeah, he went to the same school my mom actually went to.
No way.
But yeah, when his like highlight tape started popping up everywhere, when he went to go to college, that's when like football really started getting a bigger name in Baltimore.
Bro, I did not know about Tavon Austin was from Baltimore. Like the West Virginia highlight tape, the one that everybody
Yes, bro.
watches before their games. He's from
Yes, bro.
Baltimore.
From Baltimore.
So I mean, I wonder, how did he end up at West Virginia?
I really have no idea, but it's like we used to watch his high school tape, and it's like when we see it on the high school tape, we just like this guy is he's like the greatest I ever seen before. And
Wow.
then seeing that partake in him going to college, and then see him get to the NFL, it just brought everybody to that feeling like he's just a Baltimore kid like us. Like we can make it out just like him.
So, what other influences were there for you? Was there any other influencer, or was it just Tavon Austin for the most?
Really, it was Tavon Austin, but I really been a fan of football since for as long as I can remember, and I've always had that dream to continue to play football at the highest level through watching like NFL games, watching college games, just throughout all my life. That's all I've been doing. And then knowing that my father he also played college football in his career, and just kind of like following his footsteps, but trying to go like that step further.
Was your dad a tackle too, or what?
My dad was a DN. We all
Okay.
went to the same. We went to the same high school, and ended up going to Tuskegee, Alabama,
Okay.
where he played until he got injured, and that's when he stopped playing football.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that a historical black college?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Did you ever think about going that route? Because I know now, bro, it's like becoming the standard in a sense. Before, when I was coming out of high school, HBCs were, it was a possibility, but if for guys who wanted to play competitive D1 football, maybe not. It was kind of overlooked in that sense.
Yeah, when I was coming out of high school, I think I had one offer for HBCU, which is NCANT.
Okay, and that's in
But
Carolina.
yeah,
Yeah.
but then that's when I had that offer, but then I also had the offer for Connecticut, and it was just I only took one visit, and it was up to Connecticut, and I just felt so welcome that it was like this was like a done deal. Like I had to sign here.
Wow, bro. Good old stores, man. For everyone watching who doesn't know anything about stores, how would you describe stores?
I mean, me being from like around a city area, it was like when I first got up here, it was like a culture shock. But everything about stores is just it's like really nature. So it's like for now, for me, I like to go on walks, like go around walking around campus, walking around Connecticut, because it's just it's just so free out here. It's nothing really. You don't got to worry about cities. Don't worry about any of the police or anything. It's just here.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So, bro, I did some research, right? I have to do my research, and I saw that you lettered in basketball. I'm hearing you were like that. Is it true?
I mean, like that. I was good for where I was at.
Okay. And what you were a center?
Yeah, that was basketball. Really became like a second love for me because at first playing football, I started playing football. I was a little chubby as a child, but then as I started hitting growth spurts, I started getting taller and skinnier, and that's when I started playing basketball, like seventh grade,
Mm-hmm.
and then went from seventh grade all the way up to the end of high school.
Mm-hmm. And I saw in the pictures you had the low boy. That's not the Ray that I'm met. I'm used to you, kind of having the hair, but I'm like the low boy. You had the waves a little bit.
Yeah, you gotta change it up sometimes.
I see, man. But was there ever a thought of like, hey, maybe I could also go to school for basketball, or was it always just no, I'm going to school for football?
Yeah, it was a crazy thing. So like, I remember going into my sophomore year of high school, they moved me up to varsity. And that was a big shock, like culture shock to me because I thought I was gonna be on JV for those 2 years, but I got moved up to varsity, and I didn't really play as much. So I started taking a step back from football and went to basketball. So then my junior year of high school, I didn't play football at all that year. I was just focused more on basketball. But then I didn't get the looks that I wanted. It was some looks here and there, but I never got offered. So by the time I came to my senior year, I came back to football, and by I think it was week 3 or 4 of the season, that's when I started getting a lot more offers for football than basketball. And by the time basketball season came around, that's when I had one offer for basketball. So
Yeah. Man, I'm just going back, man. There's nothing like getting that first offer. I feel like it kind of confirms your hard work in a sense. I don't know about you, but if it wasn't for, football, I would not be in college. Just the expense of it, it would be a burden, a weight for my family.
I'm the same way.
So, bro, tell us, like, what was it like getting that first offer? Do you remember who was your first offer?
My first offer was North Carolina A&T. They came to my school. I had to sat down with the position coach because they offered me for DN, and that was like, and he first came in and talked to me and then told me like, yeah, we're going to offer you a full ride scholarship. That's what like really had me thinking like, oh, I can really get to work with this. And then when I got my offer from UConn, it was actually I got invited up to a game, and it was me and my sister. I appreciate her so much. She drove me up to the game. It was just me and her because my mom was going somewhere for work, I believe. But it was just me and her. And I remember sitting in the designated area where like all the recruits are, and old head coach Randy Edsel comes up, sit next to me. We have a quick little chat, and then before he gets up to leave for the game, he's like, well, "I'm gonna tell you like this. We want to offer you a full ride." And it was just like that was just like a surreal moment. So I'm like, this is great. Like I can play football at the next level now.
Bro, that's amazing, bro. That is amazing, man. And while you're there at the game, what else are you thinking? Like, hey, I know you get to play football at the next level, but are you already thinking like what you might want to major in, or you're just in the moment? Like, I want to know exactly how it felt to be there.
At that moment, it was just like I was just thinking like all that hard work, all those times where I was down going on the field, all those times where I didn't want to work out, but I actually went and worked out. All that just finally paying off, and all that, everything that I went through that I thought was like just like I got to do this now, and it ended up doing it. It just all paid off to get to that point of I finally got it to the top of my career at that point.
That's awesome, bro. So you had this goal, right? You realize, hey, I can actually play at the next level. You're getting recruited. You get the offer. But now you're actually a D1 athlete. Can you explain what that feels like, and how does it feel to kind of check that off the list? Like I'm living my dream in a sense.
It was at first when I got here, it was a culture shock because it was like this is like when I found out like you had to work work your craft every day to be great. And it was great to have, like, when I first got here, Matt Pert, who was actually the right tackle for the New York Giants, he was here. And he brought me and another freshman, Chase Lunt. He brought me and him, like, under his wing for that summer, my first summer up here, and just, like, taught us the way of just being here, being great, and being great at your position. And that actually helped me out a lot as my career kept going, to just make sure I be a professional about everything I do and just be great at everything I try, be the best I can be at everything I do.
That's awesome. But what would that look like? Was it like going to the cold tubs? Was it just him bringing you to the crib to watch some film? Like, what did that look like?
Oh, no, when I first got up here, I was not getting no cold tubs.
Yeah.
Cause it was like, I'm like, I didn't really like had that thing, like, you got to take care of your body at first. My freshman year, I was like, I'm good. I'm great. I'm a D1 athlete now. My body is tip-top shape from here. But then as the year went along and those aching bodies get to going, that's when I'm like, yeah, you got to get in there, get your body taken care of. And that's your temple, really.
Yeah. It's where you make your money. Was there any tips that Perk gave you that you still remember to this day? Anything in particular?
And one tip he gave us is, like, just be a professional at what you do and everything you do. Like, as it comes to football, class, life outside, just be a professional. And it wasn't like, for me with Matt, it wasn't like what he said to me. It was just how he acted upon things. And, like, the way he took to going about things made me be like, all right, that's what a professional is supposed to do. He the one that came in, made sure we were all straight, made sure we all had the plays right, made sure everybody was where they're supposed to be. And he brought me into that culture to make sure, like, I get what I'm supposed to do and get everybody else on the same page.
Bro, that's awesome. I think you hit on something really important, because I think a lot of people see or hear about leaders and they think like the vocal guy, the rah guy. But it seems like what you're saying is that sometimes you can lead by example.
Yeah.
How would you describe your leadership style?
I ain't really too vocal in, like, the leadership, but now that it's kind of crazy how I feel like I'm the old head at the school now. I've been there for going on 4 years now. But then, like, when the freshmen come in and they ask me, like, what they do with stuff and how they move around with stuff, and it's like, I just lead by example and just try to do everything, listen to everything coaches say, write down everything coaches say, and get their heads right for what they had to get back onto.
So you got wisdom from Perk, right? If you could talk to your high school self, what wisdom would you give to your high school self?
The wisdom I would give is just like be humble. Like, I know back when I got offered, I felt like I was that guy, and it's like everybody, when they get that first D1 offer, is like, oh, I'm that guy. Like, and then when I first got up here, it's like, it was, again, like, starting back over. Remember, at the high school, I was at the top of my class, so I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm tip top, and then coming into college is like starting all that back over. Like, nobody knows you. You got to make your name for yourself. So it's just, for me, I just gotta say, like, just follow the leaders for the time being, and then at some point where you get that culture right, you can end up being a leader yourself.
That's awesome, bro. That's awesome. So, bro, I read something on your Twitter that you reposted. You said, can't call yourself a believer if trial strikes you and you're questioning God. Can you talk to us about what that means a little bit?
This happened. This all came from my medical issues that I just recently went through, and I had a lot of time thinking while I was in that hospital bed, just thinking, like, at first, I was just thinking, like, why is this happening to me? But then as time went on, it's just like, there was no more questioning on why it was happening to me. It was more like, all right, what can I do next to get better from where I'm at? And then the funny thing is, like, with this tattoo, I got the Philippines 413 verse on my arm. And that was my first tattoo I ever got.
Wow.
But when I first got it, it wasn't even like, that this verse was just around my life this whole time, but it never became more true to me to when I was laid up in the hospital and just looking like I would just look at my arm and just be like, I can get back to what I had before. It's just gonna take work.
Mm. So, bro, for someone who's watching and who doesn't know you, as much as you're willing to share, what was your medical injury and what was that process?
It's a long story, but it goes back to last football season when we had our 2 bye weeks. If you remember,
Mm-hmm.
I started having stomach issues. Like I couldn't do anything, couldn't go to the bathroom really. So I would go to the doctors, go to the trainers, like asking for like help because I didn't know what was going on, get some medicine and all. But as the weeks went on, the medicine wasn't working. So I think it was December 10th. It was a Saturday, and I was like that whole day, I was having a problem keeping everything down. Like all I drank was water, but I was still throwing that up.
Mm-hmm.
So that I finally ended up going to the hospital, and they gave me a CAT scan and everything. And just like 15 minutes later after the CAT scan, the nurse comes back in and just tells me I need surgery.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like, whoa, because it was just me. It was just me and my ex-girlfriend at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, whoa. What they told me was my lower intestines became intertwined somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And that was causing a blockage. So I had that first emergency surgery that night. And then my parents and my father came up here. Everybody was up here to check on me. And then I think it was the next day, 2 days later after that, they found out that my colon was like cut open and was leaking inside of me.
Mm-hmm.
So then they had to go back in for another emergency surgery and shut that off. And then they gave me a colostomy bag for like 3 months. And yeah, that was just all that. That was just a lot going because I lost like when I played, I was at 275. By the time I left the hospital, I was down to 198.
Wow, bro. Wow, bro. And so just being in the hospital bed and you're going through recovery, what's going through your mind?
It was a lot of cloudy days. Like I remember my mom and my sister when they came up. It was like they didn't show it, but I could see in their face like they was like so distraught at how I was looking. And they told me after I got home and after a while, they told me like, yeah, when we left that hospital room, we was like crying because everything just looked bad. And that was going on in my head. Like this is in my head at first. I was sitting there like, this is real bad. Like I don't know what I'm gonna do after it when I don't know what this means for me right now. So
Mm-hmm.
it all in my head. Like when I got home, I just felt like I lost everything, especially with I couldn't play football. I couldn't be at school. I was bedridden. And that was like, I've been active all my life. So having to just sit there and just having to recover and take things slow, it was a shock to me because I'm like, at first I couldn't even lift a gallon of milk.
Wow.
And that's the point that really got me in that situation. Like, this is bad. Like, I hate this. And that's when I got in that cloudy mindset, like just feeling sorry for myself, feeling bad. And it was like, that was my first time going through like a depressing state.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow, bro, I commend you, bro, because it's not easy, what you've been through. But bro, I feel like you have such an infectious spirit that a lot of people wouldn't know the depth of what you've been through. The fact that you're still able to, walk around with your head up, smile. Like I feel like, if I was a regular Joe, like I would never know or suspect any of what you've gone through, bro. So I salute you, bro. It's not easy.
That's what I try to think now, just keep that positive attitude with everything, because especially with everyone, because you never know what everyone else is going through. So if you keep that positive attitude around people, they gonna get that positive attitude as well. Like, for instance, with you, like I've never seen you like having a bad day because you keep that smile on your face every day, every time you come into the facility. So that's like contagious, and it brings out a good energy to everyone else.
Yeah, for sure. But I do believe, your energy is contagious for sure. How did this impact your faith in your relationship with God?
It really brought me back to my faith because I know from as a child when I was living with my moms, we used to go to church like every Sunday. And then when I started living with my dad, that's when I started like I kind of edged off away from like going to church and away from my faith for a little bit. But then it wasn't when I got up to school and especially like when you got here and started doing chapel, that's what like kind of brought me back to my faith. And then with everything that just happened in the end of December, the start of this year, that brought me back more with my faith, like because I'm just blessed to still be here and still be able to do what I was doing before, able to get back to what I had before.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. What are some things that you do to just strengthen your relationship with God? Is it prayer? Do you meditate? What does that look like for you?
I mean, most nights before I go to bed, I put up a thank you to the man above because he works wonders, and without him, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now. Like I wouldn't have this chance to come back and play at a D1 level. So before I go to bed, I usually pray. When I wake up in the morning, I like you see what I post on Instagram. I post pictures of the sky just because like I'm living here.
Yeah,
I can, and everything is just it's here for me. So it's just mostly just praise to the Most High,
for
man.
sure, for sure. I can only imagine this was probably one of the first times that you kind of had to like identify yourself beyond your sport, perhaps. Like maybe you had to question, will I ever play again? Right? Like what's, what did you think? Okay, if I couldn't play, what would you start doing? Or what was that like?
Yeah, that was when I got home, and it was like a lot of late night thoughts of like, what is life gonna be after football? And I'm like, it was a lot to just get back to looking at what I'm majoring in, which is communications, and then looking at careers with that, and looking at ways to get to that point. And that was just the time where I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to continue to play football with everything that happened. And I'm still thinking of that way now because life is short and life can throw curveballs at you, so you don't know where that thing is going to change, but you had to be prepared for when it does change.
Bro, I feel like that all the time, bro. I don't know if you saw, but there was another, young athlete. I think he was only 25 years of age who passed away today. And, I'm thinking since the beginning of this year, 22, right? To now, bro, there's been countless of athletes who, sadly have taken their lives through, depression, suicide. Then there's been few incidents of car accidents. Like, bro, how do we, I guess, keep sane with all this, Do you ever just feel like, especially just being a black man in America, like, I don't know, just stress?
It's like I know it's like in this field where people in our outside of our field don't look at depression like they think we have life just as great as it can be, but there's not that. We go through a lot of things daily that nobody even sees, especially when they get on the football field. Everybody just sees us as football players, but nobody knows what that mental struggle is going through as we're going through and trying to perform, especially like during the year when you're stressed about family, school, trying to be good at football, but it's just no one ever knows what's going on. And it's always great to just have somebody you can also come out and talk to and also relate to, and like because I feel like everybody that's a D1 athlete goes through the same issues one time in their
Hmm,
career.
hmm. One of the things that strikes me is that a lot of people are not aware of what they're going through, and I say that because, for me, the closest thing to depression before, personally, like really experience it was, I'm just feeling off. That was my way of identifying that thing. I was like, oh, I'm just feeling off. I'll just shake it off. And sadly, ignorant of me, but I always thought depression was something that you can just shake off. I thought, you just listen to a motivational video, listen to TD Jake, Steve Harvey, maybe some Steve Furtick, play some worship music, play some Tupac,
Yeah.
Biggie, like you're good. You just gotta find the right song. But it wasn't until this past winter, bro. Oh my Lord, winter was so hard for me. Being away from family, being injured, I broke my clavicle. You can see the scars here. Um, Again, just the weather, and it gets very gloomy. There's a time, bro, it's snow. So the snow is cool at first. You know what I mean? It's cool.
Yeah, but then it just lingers
Yeah,
on every day.
every day, bro. And it's got to the point where, bro, I'm like going down the snow, I'm falling, slippery, and it was depressing, bro. It was depressing, and it was the first time that I was able to truly identify this is depression. And I'm thankful for my roommates. One of my roommates, Kev Mensa, he was like, "Yeah, bro, you're depressed." And because he was able to identify that, I was able to really identify that and get the help that I needed. But sadly, a lot of athletes don't even know what they're experiencing, bro. How can
I
you bring
can say I can
awareness
say
to
that
that?
it was like when I was going through my depressive state, it was just I was constantly in my head telling myself, like, trying to motivate myself, like, you're good, you're gonna be great, you're gonna get better. And then it was also days where it's like I'm just questioning, like, why me, or why am I going through this? And it was like I didn't when I first got back, I felt like there was like nobody for me to talk to
Hmm.
about it. And like your parents are always there. They can try to understand. Like I talked to my father about it. He was really helpful at the beginning. My mom was also there for me. My brother and sister, they was also there for me. It was like I was just going through that time, and it felt like I was just by myself a lot of times. And it was just that, like, your mind plays like tricks on you, and it just that battle between your mind is just crazy. Like, you can tell yourself one thing, but your mind goes another way and just keeps trying to fight you over and over again. And it just takes a lot to get back into that mindset that you're great, everything is going great, even if you feel like it's bad, everything's going to go to the plan. So you just gotta go through and live through it.
Hmm. How can we, I guess, lower the stigma of depression in athletes? Because obviously we live in a culture where I can't relate to any other sport, but for football players, you're not allowed to be soft, right? You're told you have to be
Yeah,
tough. What's that saying they always say, especially like on special teams? It's like, effort, attitude, toughness, right? Like those are like the prince.
effort, attitude,
Yes, yes,
execution.
yes, yes, yes. But like, I feel like, especially in football culture, like we all walk around, macho, machisimo. How do
Yeah,
we lower the
yeah.
stigma of mental health in the locker room and just on the field, really?
It's just really like being there for your brother. Like, that you need to have that person you can always turn to when you're going through things, and especially with being a team with where everybody's going through the same thing. It'd be great for us to, like, every player should be able to go to that one or your whole position group or your whole team, like, have somebody there to, like, help pick you up, or just at least try to help pick you up, because everybody in our case understands what we're going through. And I remember reading something about, I think it was Kevin Love,
Mm,
when he did like an article about his, like, mental issues going through the league, and there was people bashing him because they like, you play a child's game and you make millions of dollars, and it's like nobody understands that everything that we go through to be the top tier athletes. They just see that finished product on the field, but they never know, like, the summers, the camp, they're trying to get your body right through they don't see any of that. They see that shell of what you got to where you at now.
hmm. And bro, when I hear you speak so highly of your family. It sounds like you have such an awesome support system. Would you say it's something that you guys worked on, or has it always been this way?
Like, my family they've always been there for me through everything. Even just like I said, my sister, she took time out of her day to bring me up to Connecticut, which is a five and a half
Right.
hour drive, just to
Right.
just to see the game. My parents, they've always been a big support system. My mom, especially, she's free, she used to come to every one of my games. Hot or cold, basketball, if it's 3 hours away, 5 hours
Wow.
away, 3 states away, she made sure she was there to support me. And my father will also be the one there. He wasn't he didn't come to most games, but after games I would talk to him and he would just be like, yeah, this you did good here, but this is what you gotta work on. But my family has always been that support system, and especially my brother. Me and him have always been in competition for my whole life. So now it's just like he knows how to push me to go harder, and what to say to me to make
Is
me go
this your
harder.
older brother?
Yeah, I'm the
Okay,
youngest of three.
awesome, man. So, like, do you think you can give any tips for someone who may be struggling with family life? Because I come across athletes, guys in the locker room all the time that it seems like that's always an area of tension because a lot of times your family, they see what you go through, but they may not fully understand what you go through. Hey, why don't you call more? Why don't you text more? Why can't we hang out like we used to? Especially with the demands that we have as D1 athletes.
Yeah, it's really just talk to your family like whenever you have time. Like for me, I call my father and mother like at least I would say at least 4 times a week, just to touch base with them, let them know what's going on in my life, ask them what's going on with their lives, ask them what they're going through. It's really just like really talk to your parents. And same with parents with their kids. Like they should really like try to understand what their kids are going through and like try to relate more with them. Like that's the thing that my parents do a great job in. But both my parents, they both know like what it takes to be an athlete and go through a student athlete at that. So they both know what to say to me, what to talk to me about, what to ask me, and ask how I'm doing. So it's just like with your parents, just try to touch base with them at least as much as you can, especially when you're away from them for this
For
long.
sure, for sure. So, bro, what's on the horizon for you, bro? You're coming up. You know, you said you've been in college for 4 years now. What's next, bro? What does this next season look like for you, mentally, physically? You also mentioned that you've been focusing on interest within your major more. What are you thinking? What's inform us?
Right now, I'm focused on getting back into shape. I've been down for a long time, so I'm just trying to get my body back right to what it used to be, or at least how it used to be, and then just focusing on school, trying to get my degree, and just whatever happens, I'm just trying to wait till whatever happens after that. Because right now, I'm still a little unsure what that next step is for me. But right now, I'm just trying to focus on the things I can control at
Mm-hmm.
this point, and just
Mm-hmm.
and go through it.
You graduate December or May of next year?
It's looking
Okay.
like May
Okay.
23.
Awesome, bro. Awesome. And is there any like particular like jobs that have caught your sight? Because I feel like a lot of athletes, like you said, like bro, like we get so caught on ball and for good reasons, like we put all our time and effort and focus that sometimes we may not prepare for the transition until we're there.
Until it's done. Yeah, it was actually that I forgot the guy's name who came and talked
I
to us
wasn't
last week.
there.
But yeah, he went through the same thing we went through. He went to Temple, and when he got done playing football, he got into these careers that got him into where he's at now, where he works at NFL offices. And it's just like I'm just thinking of places where that can help build my resume to help me get into my career standing. But it's like with communications, there's a lot. I still want to be involved with football when I'm done with playing football. So it's like I'm looking at places like like HR and businesses, or like social media teams, and just just places that keep me around with football, because that's like this is my true love really. And like if I can't play at it, I still want to be involved in
Bro,
the football world.
ESPN is down the street.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Have you ever
That
thought
too.
about just like shooting them a DM or email or anything?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm just trying to right now. I'm gonna try to build my resume. Like when I come back for next year. That's what I'm gonna start looking into, like
Hmm.
internships at places. Because it'll be my senior year. I'm just trying to build everything, get everything
Hmm.
perfect for when I'm
Hmm.
done playing football.
And bro, speaking of building your body, what advice could you give to the young guys watching this? You know, like what could they do right now to start building your body and preparing, to be a D1 athlete?
Make sure you take care of your body every day. Every day after you work out, it's a must. Like there's no skipping that when you're finished working out because you got to keep your body at tip top shape or as best as you can be because when you get to these grind periods, those aches and bruises, they start to tally up and it start hurting. You just got to keep taking
Yeah,
care of it,
yeah.
man.
Well, bro, man, I just want to say thank you, bro, for coming up on the show, talking about your faith, talking about your family, all the adversity that you've gone through, bro. And again, like I said earlier, bro, it's something that you would never know. You know, if I saw you on the screen, I would never know. And I think you serve as a lesson, of wisdom and hope. A lot of hope for a lot of young guys watching. Maybe somebody's gone through something. Maybe someone has had a similar surgery as you. I think they can listen and watch this and just be encouraged. So I want to say thank you, bro. For sure, for
Thank you for having
sure.
me, bro.
And
It's great. It's been great to finally get to talk, like get this
for
out, talk
sure, bro.
about
I
stuff
think
like
it's
this.
important, for in all aspects. Faith is it encompasses everything that we do. Everything is faith. That's how I kind of look at
Mhm.
it.
Yeah,
But a question I ask everyone who comes on the show, and I kind of save it for the last question. If there was a movie about your life, and we were all watching this movie, we get to see it play out. What would the audience take away from it?
just just endurance, really. Just having things thrown down on you that you can't control, and just coming out of the other side in a better place.
Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you, bro. Thanks for coming on, bro.
Appreciate you, man.
Of course,
Thanks for
man.
having me, bro.